Are you one of those geniuses that says, oh, you'll never use a degree in psychology? Or a college degree is a waste. Studying gender studies is stupid. Or art is ridiculous. You'll never make use of that. You'll never make money off of that. It's like, really, genius? Is that so? Or maybe you're the parent who says to their kid, stop playing guitar. You'll never make it in a rock band. Nobody makes it. You'll never make money off of that. Oh, my God. All right. Well, just very briefly, let's address that. Both of my kids have a degree in psychology. One's 31, has a massively successful career in sales, and he admits, I use psychology every day, Pop. My daughter is instrumental in running the disaster relief program in a mid-sized U.S. state, and fully admits she uses psychology every single day. Are they psychologists? No. Do they teach psychology? No. But do they use it? Is it instrumental to their success in their work? You fucking ain't right, it is. To the person who studies gender studies, and others say, well, that's just stupid. What a dumb degree. Really? Why do you think it is that nowadays women earn more on the dollar than they did 40 or 50 years ago? It's still not equal to the dollar the man makes, but it's infinitely better. Why? Because people started giving a shit about how women were treated versus how men are treated. I've been with two different women in my life who went through menopause, in addition to my own mother. And in each of those cases, they acknowledge that medical science really has not studied menopause. Well, why is that? Because so much of the medical model for women was based on the medical model for men, right? So there's nothing there. So this notion that studying gender isn't important, it's just fucking dumb. I mean, it's just naive, right? But there's something else to be said for studying art, which, by the way, are you watching me right now on an iPhone or maybe a Droid or whatever? Are you? Has it occurred to you that almost that entire phone is built not just on technology, but design? Well, who do you think knows things about design? Oh yeah, the art people, those numbskulls. Yeah, pretty much everything around you. Look at your house. Do you really think the soffits and the gutters and the eaves on your house, do you really think the cut of your house and the porch or whatever it might be, do you really think that art didn't play into that? Are you that naive? But let's look at another aspect of pursuing interest. Do you want to know what my undergraduate degree was in? I went to the U.S. Air Force Academy to become a fighter pilot, all right? I played football there, and back in 1985, I also played, I told you that, I played football, and in 1985, we ended the year ranked 5th in the country. We beat the Texas Longhorns in a bowl game, and in the AP poll, we were 5th, right? So I was a good athlete, and I was a good student, B+. I wasn't the best, wasn't, bottom either. But at one point, it occurred to me when I was there that this isn't my path. And it felt right to move on to what was next. I ended up getting my undergraduate degree in world religions. Now, world religions and religious studies is fundamentally a functionless degree, it would seem, unless you're going to become a pastor or a professor, right? I was a pastor for a while. I ended up getting my master's degree in divinity. But the point is, I use that degree in religious studies every single day. Even though most of my work in counseling people, in speaking, in the books I write has nothing to do with religion. Do you want to know why? At the very least, what that degree in world religions taught me was the power of beliefs. And I'm not just talking about God shit. I'm talking about what people believe and the power it has over their life. And how we are taught what we believe about ourselves at a very young age impacts every single decision in your life, not the least of which is your career and your parenting, as well as your love life. I use that degree in religious studies, even though I'm not involved in the field of religion anymore. I still do the occasional funeral and wedding. But beyond that, I'm not involved in the religious field, yet I use that degree every single day. My girlfriend, we've been together for about 9 years. She grew up in the Bronx, and in her teen years, she wanted to be an actress. So she went to acting school in New York, one of the top acting schools at the time. But in order to pay her way to live in Manhattan, she had to have a job. And so she got 2 jobs, modeling and as a secretary. And she was a secretary, what they called them back then in the late 70s and early 80s, for a clothing company. And she had worked for them for a brief time, and she had actually grown up. Her mother owned a bridal shop in the Bronx and in the 50s and 60s, and she had grown up sort of under her mother's sewing machine, grown up around fabric and so on and so forth. And so she was working for this garment company, and she was their secretary. But before long, she said to her boss, she said, you know what? I could sell better than your salespeople. And the guy's like, yeah, right, show me. And she did. And within 2 years of selling for that company, she had boosted that company's revenues $7 million single-handedly. Before long, she said, listen, I could teach your people. Now, mind you, she's in her early 20s. I can teach your salespeople to sell better. And she did. That boosted sales for that company. By the time she was 23 or 24, she had started her own garment company. She went on in her 30s, 40s, 50s to be the president, primary shareholder. She started it 27 years ago, whatever, of an $80 million company that had 2,500 employees globally at its peak. And all because she wanted to be an actress. That's where it started. My 93-year-old mother, before she passed away, she used to say for decades, Sven, doors open doors, open doors. You can't know that this door over here is waiting for you until you go through this door first. Even though this first room that you may go into may not be where you end up eventually or forever, it's going to lead to another open door, but you have to have the courage to go through the first door before you'll ever see that second door, which leads down a stairway, which leads to an anteroom that you're going to be in for 2 years, and that leads to another door that you realize is an elevator, takes you up to the roof, and there's a building up on the roof that you're going to spend the next 10 years in, and that's going to lead to another door and another door and another door. My degree in religious studies led to my work in belief systems in people's lives. My girlfriend, her desire to be an actress led to. Somebody could say, well, you'll never make a career playing music. You'll never be in a band. Really, genius. But what if that person gets into this band and then discovers they like the mixing side of it and realize they have a talent for producing? And then they go work in a studio and then they get picked up to do some producing. And that leads then to, holy crap, I realize I really want to be an agent. People used to tell my son when he was in high school, he just said, I just want to make a life in sports. Now, back in my day, in the 70s and 80s, people would say, you can't make a career in sports, that's stupid. But I told my son, go for it. Now, was he good enough to play, football in college? Who knows? He just chose not to. The bottom line is, he knew he just wanted to be around sports. Coming out of college, he got his first job working in a sports store. His second job, in the sales department of a Major League Baseball team, right? The point is there's so many careers in sports, agent, front office, back office, field management, whatever it might be. There's so many different fields in music. There's so many different fields in everything. So are you short-circuiting your son or your daughter's life? Are you short-circuiting your own life by the belief that what this degree is has to be what I do eventually? That me playing the guitar means I have to be in a band. There's so many other careers, but you have to have the courage to walk through this door before you'll ever see that door. So how are you limiting your own path, or how are you limiting the path of someone else because of your own limiting belief system? Have a kick-ass day.